what's up, viewers? Patrick from Bob vs. Only, back with Narrative Videos, episode number 7 of Fear Week on Bob versus of the Day. And today's verse comes out of Matthew 6, verse 34, and it says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And that's what that verse means, and we're going to start talking about addiction and hunger. Starting with addiction, in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13, it says, "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it." In 1 Peter 5, verse 8, it says, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." In 1 John 2:16, it says, "For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, and the desires of the eyes, and pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world." In 1 Corinthians 6:12, it says, "All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be dominated by anything." And finally, in James 4, verse 7, it says, "Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." In addition, I will be giving you 7 things you need to know on how to stay hungry for God. This is from catchthefire.com. Here's introduction. This is by Duncan Smith. "I knew I had to ask him to pray for me." The preacher, Ken Gott, spoke with fire and passion in his voice. He had clearly experienced God himself, and I didn't want to go home without him praying for me. I was desperate for more of God. But it was getting late. As the meeting finished, crowds of people poured out of the building. It was raining as I scanned the car park to find him. Ken had reached his car and was saying goodbye to the leader of the movement. I ran over and approached him just as he was about to get into the car. "Excuse me. I'm ever so sorry to interrupt, but do you have one more prayer?" I asked. Ken must have been exhausted and surely ready to go home, but he agreed. He walked over and prayed for me, and I felt the power of God and I fell over in the Holy Spirit. I landed in a puddle in the car park, but I didn't care. I was just so hungry and beyond grateful for this amazing encounter. That night wasn't a one-off for me. I was in my early 30s at the time, and ever since I had a radical salvation encounter with Jesus at age 20, on a trail in the Rocky Mountains, I was desperately hungry to know Jesus more and more deeply. I started a lifetime of tasting and seeing how good God is, knowing that there is nothing in this world that compares to Jesus. We read in Matthew 5, verse 6, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." It's the greatest blessing to be hungry and thirsty for Jesus, to hunger after the bread of life, to thirst for living water. So how can we develop that hunger for God and stay hungry for Him? So throughout the week, each day I'm going to give you the 7 things you need to know on how to stay hungry for God. The reason why I'm doing this particular topic of addiction and hunger, I was out shopping yesterday, and there was this woman that had these shirts and had these necklaces with the Bible. And she's part of this organization that we have here in the main part of PEA. And it basically is for anybody that's 18 years old or somewhere around that range, for teens that have been dealing with addiction, whether it be drug addiction or alcohol addiction. And this organization helps them make it through. So that's why, if you want to know the inspiration. The verse of today is Romans 1, verse 17, and it says, "For in the gospel the righteousness of God is revealed, a righteousness that is by faith from first to last, just as it is written, the righteous will live by faith." And that's going to do the video. Thanks for watching. And until next time again, viewers, in every way, God's way is always the best way.